Hello once again and welcome back to another episode of Father and Son Days, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. This week we're at episode 72.
Oh, are we really?
Yeah, and we're talking dinos this week, dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, love dinosaurs.
Yeah, stick around if you want to hear more. Hello, how are you doing?
How am I doing? Yes, I'm not doing too bad, thank you very much.
I was actually talking to the audience.
Oh, are you? Okay, the audience, how are they doing? Well, we won't know, will we? Because they never tell us. So,
but how are you doing?
how am I doing?
Same as your previous answer?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. I'm a year older than I was last time I done a podcast.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
so
now
you were.
54 because it was my birthday. Very, very lovely birthday it was at that.
Yeah, you had a nice one?
I had a nice one. I had lots of lovely gifts. And yes, I'm looking forward to playing with the toys and going out on my kayak and all the rest of it.
You got a little keyboard as well, didn't you?
I did get I got a lovely gift from you.
So I bet you wrote a really nice song for this week's podcast with your lovely new keyboard.
No, I didn't know. No, I haven't yet. No, because it's been a bit of a busy week. We're still, I'm still not a granddad yet. You're still not an uncle yet.
Wasn't it quite literally last Sunday we were sitting there and Mum almost disappeared off?
We thought it was going to happen. There's been a few little things happening which we thought, oh, here we go then. But unfortunately, and bless her, Annie, he's going through it a bit at the moment. But hopefully, by the time we do our next podcast, there will be an addition to our family, to the family of father and son. So that's something to look forward to.
Father
So it's been
and son and grandson.
And grandson. So it's been a bit of a weird week because we've been pretty much waiting for that call and each day talking and all the rest of it. Talking. Yes, but things like that don't stop us putting together a podcast of the quality that we normally put together. Does it?
No,
does
because it doesn't
not
take much effort to do a podcast of the quality of our normal amount.
It doesn't
does it?
really, does it? So this week we were talking about, and we have talked about dinosaurs briefly in other episodes. Various different reasons to talk about them, but it's a subject.
Should we just be honest?
What?
We went to go see Jurassic World Dominion.
We did go and see Jurassic. Yeah, well, that was a Father's Day present as well, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, we went to see that last week, and it was great fun.
Not last week, but the week before, really.
Whenever we went to see it.
It was before your birthday.
It was before my birthday.
Did we mention it in the last episode?
I don't even know if we did or not.
But we would have seen it in that last episode.
Would we really have?
Yeah, we would have seen it, but we were already doing weather, so we decided to do dinosaurs this week.
Ah, right, okay. Anyway, I would thoroughly endorse that film. It was good fun. Again, we've talked about this before.
I've just kind of thought to myself, I've just described the last episode as weather. And if someone says to you, oh, I've got a podcast about the weather, barely anyone's going to listen to that, are they?
Or maybe not. There's lots of people
It was
who
a
are
very
interested
good
in
episode.
I enjoyed it.
Well, when I say a very good episode, I enjoyed it.
All right, well, that's all that counts. No, it was about extreme weather, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that we had a bit of fun talking about some of the things and some
So
of
if
our
you saw it and
experiences.
thought, that sounds boring, I won't listen to that one.
No, it was all right.
Go back and listen to it,
Yeah,
because
it was okay. I would say it was pretty good.
because if you're coming along for loads of in-depth stuff about dinosaurs,
You ain't going to get it.
you're not going to
either.
get it
No.
here either.
And I'll tell you what, right? It just sums this up. Now I've turned 54. We were just having a discussion before we came on air, and said,
In what?
"What you know what I mean?" Started the podcast.
Do you want me to press the button?
Press the button. We're on air. And anyway,
Light up thing.
Light up thing that says we're on air. I couldn't even remember. I think there was a song last week about the weather. I can't even remember it. So this is a bit of a worry for me. I'm really going to have to try and concentrate and up my game. But dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
Inspired. We love dinosaurs anyway, but we're inspired by the Jurassic World film, which was great fun, like I say.
And since then, you've been doing some research as well, haven't you? You've been watching Jurassic Park.
I went back and I've started watching. Well, first of all, I went back and started watching Jurassic World, the first one of the second trilogy, because we'd already watched Fallen Kingdom before we went to see that film the other week. And then I started watching the older films. So I watched Jurassic Park. I started watching Jurassic Park The Lost World, I think it's called.
Yep.
I'm listening to the audio version of Jurassic Park, which is very different to the film. So yes, I have done a fair bit of research.
So I'm
quite dedicated.
I've got a few video games that involve dinosaurs, such as Ark, Survival Evolved. There's also Jurassic World Evolution and Jurassic World Evolution 2. And I thought about playing those. And then Jurassic World Evolution and Evolution 2 are both made by Frontier. So I thought, I'll play one of those games. But instead I played Planet Zoo, which is also made by Frontier, but it doesn't involve dinosaurs.
No. So all that effort I've put in, all them hours I've put into...
However, you're saying that all those hours, I've put in a lot of hours playing those video games in the past.
Okay, so this should be good then.
Well, should be relatively okay.
Okay.
I can name a number of dinosaurs.
Good. Well, we'll come to that. So, why is there a fascination with dinosaurs? Why do you think, as kids... and adults, but as kids especially, this.
I think the big thing with it all is, one, is kids, it's big and scary. It's like, wow, it's almost like the dragons.
Yeah,
there's something really cool
but
about
they
it.
Definitely did exist. We know they existed. So
I think it's also something to do with the fact that your point being is they did exist, and it seems unfathomable that there's these huge beasts.
Nice word.
Thank you. Huge beasts that wandered the earth long before we were around, and a lot longer than we've been around as well.
Sorry, you can carry on, but that blew my mind, because I don't know whether I'm stupid or what, but you know,
I wouldn't say stupid, just ignorant.
Right, okay, ignorant. But I've always been fascinated with dinosaurs, but it wasn't until I particularly looked at this and started looking at some facts to do with it that I realised that they were around for about 165 million years.
But this is also the thing, is there was no one dinosaur necessarily that was around for that long.
No.
And that's what changes it up a bit, because if you think about... Also, I've just thought of another thing that makes me an expert on dinosaurs, and it's the film Dinosaur, the Disney film.
Oh, you do like a Disney film?
Yeah, it was I was a big fan of that one as a kid. But, like, for example, it's like saying that humans have been around for this long, and considering, I don't know, like, for example, if there was an evolution in the future that meant that humans were closer looking like orangutans and stuff like that. Like, for example, even just orangutans being the dominant species in the future.
That'd be
and
right,
then,
I'd be happy with
and
that.
then the orangutans go in, oh yeah, because as apes have been around for this long.
Yeah.
Or like a future species looking at apes and going, they've been around for this long.
But I don't know whether, you know, as you say, it's ignorance, probably. You're probably right. But I just assumed that the dinosaurs were around for a few years and then got wiped out. Now, when we started looking at extinction, I realised that there was these periods where there was a number of these extinctions.
It can take a long time to get that big.
But 100, and I do realise, like you say, that you have very different periods within those 165 million years. But
Jurassic,
160, Cretaceous,
Triassic.
Yeah.
Some more of them.
Yeah.
With sick on the end of it.
165 million years. It's
Buffering.
Just... yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, it's just... It's mad. It's absolutely mad.
But at the same time...
So what? Like, we consider ourselves to be... All right, okay, we're the current...
dominant
species. But that really puts... for me, it kind of highlights how insignificant we are. All right, we like to think ourselves as more sophisticated race than perhaps... You know,
this was my point, is we've been around a lot less time, but look at us. We're recording an audio-based thing using technology in a house. I don't remember the dinosaurs making podcasts.
No, because to be honest with you, they're either like too big, and they wouldn't get any headphones on them or anything like that, or they've got little arms, so they couldn't really reach the buttons to press anything.
Yes, that's why they didn't get them with keyboards.
It was impractical until human beings come along and we evolved into these, able to sort of
had thumbs and stuff.
Yeah, and things like that. But and the fact that it was 65 million years ago, roughly, that they were around. Now that seems... See, all these sort of figures, when you start banding about these figures, it's just... In my mind, it just completely blows it. I cannot comprehend 65 million years ago, and I cannot comprehend 165 million years.
Where are our common ancestors? Because they had arms, legs, head, which is a trait of, like, mammals as well, and birds, and even fish to an extent. They got heads and they got
legs,
fins.
haven't they?
No, but that you can see how the fish became the land animals by evolving. Although there are some things that went back into the sea again.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, and then they evolved again. But
otters.
No, this isn't the otters podcast.
No, but I'm just saying, otters. Did they come out and then go back in? Sea otters.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
But like all these animals have like heads, arms, and legs. Makes me think that we've got a common ancestor, which is true. We would have a common ancestor, but I want to know how far back I would need to go. Do I directly descend from dinosaurs, or did something span off and then the dinosaurs went one direction and then, like the band, and other animals went another direction? And because how are they so similar to birds, but birds are still quite similar to people in a sense?
But surely our closest relatives in the animal kingdom are apes.
Yeah.
So not dinosaurs.
No, I'm not saying dinosaurs are our closest relative in the animal kingdom.
Well, that's what you said.
No, I didn't. No, I said common ancestor. I mean, how far back would I have to go to say that my ancestry was dinosaurs?
65 million years.
Yeah, but my point being is, where does it branch off? Am I related to a T-Rex, or did it branch off earlier than that?
I don't understand what you're talking about. If you're saying
at what point
yes.
did the pathway for humans branch off from that of a T-Rex, or did a T-Rex then eventually become a human? I don't feel like you understand my question.
I think you're getting angry, and at this stage I'm going to get out a present I got for my birthday, which is a picture of two lovely little otters. Funny, we should mention otters a little while ago. Lovely little otters.
I feel like you purposely mentioned otters.
I didn't. So every time you get a little bit like strung out or a little bit like agitated with me, I want you to just have a little look at those otters. Look at a picture of an otter. Are you feeling calm? Look at them with their little
not particularly
armpit pockets.
You keep
with their little stones in their armpit pockets that I found out about yesterday. But there you go. So just keep in mind.
Found out about.
I didn't know that.
We told you about it.
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, I didn't believe you.
Yeah, but you saying found out about it makes it sound like it was a fact that you found out.
Well, it was. After I'd been told about it, I went and found it out.
By me and Becky.
Standing at the shoulders of giants. Anyway, sorry to interrupt, but I felt you were getting a little bit sort of agitated. Right, yes, well, I don't know. I don't know if you're directly descended from a T-Rex.
Or a Triceratops.
You got a bit of a funny walk. It could possibly be that, but some sort of bearded dragon.
Nice.
No, yeah. And also, I didn't realise because I there was something else.
T-Rex walk on 2 legs.
David Attenborough. What?
T-Rexes walk on 2 legs.
They do. There was a David Attenborough documentary recently as well, and I watched that. So it's not all Hollywood. You know, I do go to some proper people to get my information. And there was some debate about...
I go to Richard Attenborough.
Do you?
Yeah.
Funny you should say that. Now, they were talking about the fact that there was until recently, I think there was no actual, within 1,000 years of when the asteroid, which I believed wiped out all dinosaurs, in my simplistic way, within 1,000 years of that event, there was no fossils of dinosaurs found, or evidence found that caused the death of the dinosaurs, or that wiped out the dinosaurs. Now, I know the events that preceded it, and whatever with the asteroid hitting would have made a huge difference. Everything would have changed afterwards. The atmosphere would have changed. The surroundings would have changed. But it was interesting to see that wasn't necessarily just it. There was a series of different things.
Well, there was a mass extinction of some kind, because there's been fossilized. There's been fossilized things of like animals having fights, for example, like two dinosaurs having a fight, found in a fossil. Now, it's going to be difficult to get a fossil of something like that unless they die at exactly the same time.
Yeah, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
It's like the Pompeii.
Yeah. Like the Pompeii.
Like Pompeii.
Yeah.
But the people of Pompeii...
Yeah, got
all
caught out.
Frozen in their actions.
Yeah.
Some of them thought, my last moments, I'll do something interesting.
Yes, I understand that's true. Yes. That's bizarre though, isn't it? That for something to happen that quickly.
But that's like an example of a mass extinction.
Yeah, but I can't work out Pompeii. I know this is slightly different from dinosaurs as well. Perhaps this is an episode in the future, but I can't work out how they were instantly, for want of a better word, mummified in these different positions, and these different things were preserved like that. I mean, I know the volcano erupted.
Do you think it was an inside job?
I just don't get how it... I don't understand the science of how it actually happened. Or was it that... No. How do these people become petrified like they were? It's like someone just clicked their fingers, which we know I can't do, but clicked their fingers.
Did a pretty good job.
And that happened, and it was all over for them. Anyway, we'll go back to that. After the asteroid hit, apparently there was 10 years of semi-darkness.
Big clouds.
Like my emo phase. Huh?
Big clouds.
Big clouds everywhere. And when I say emo, obviously that was making me sound like I'm a lot younger than I am. Goth stage. Big clouds. But then again, that's what... when that hit, there was all sorts of things that happened. So there was some animals that would have survived the initial impact because they were on the other side of the earth, but then the tides, the poisonous gas, from things being destroyed, just the seismic event of it, it's just everything about it, sort of bits and pieces. Some mammals stood more chance of surviving. Actually, birds as well, I believe. There was
sea creatures.
Sea creatures, because obviously,
or water-based creatures, not necessarily just because crocodilian kind of type animals.
That's a
survived.
good name, isn't it? That's a good word, crocodilian.
They're species type, isn't it?
No, it is. Yeah, but it sounds good, doesn't it? Yeah. So
is it genus? Which way does it go? Does it go species, genus, whatever? I can't remember which order that goes in.
But then, but there's been a lot of misinformation. I mean, when you look back at it, that's where the things like dragons become, because people would unearth these skeletons. You talked about two dinosaurs fighting. They'd unearth the skeleton and they'd think it was one creature, when in fact it was a mixture of bones. So they this is where things like dragons, potentially come from, or where they've discovered stuff that they can't, it is a number of different animals making one skeleton, which makes this creature that never existed,
Or was there dragons?
Yeah, but this is what I mean.
Do you know the difference between a wyvern and a dragon?
No, you mentioned this in the cryptozoology episode. What is the difference between?
I believe a wyvern has its wings attached to its front legs, whereas a dragon has a separate set of wings.
Oh, right, okay. And where does that come from? What is it, just through legend, or is it specifically?
No, they were alive.
Oh, they were alive. Okay.
I don't know.
But scientists thought they were cold-blooded as well. They thought dinosaurs were cold-blooded and obviously
Lizard men.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, and it's obvious that isn't. I mean, not all, but it was obvious that isn't the case. They were warm-blooded creatures. They wouldn't have been able to survive in the conditions that they were in if they were cold-blooded. Two-minute debate.
Right then, Dad, now it's back for a turn of the 2 minute debate. The time where we have 2 minutes to debate something and then it stops after that point. Yeah? You ready to hear the debate?
Okay, go for it. Tell me what you want me to talk about.
So, energy bills are going through the roof. So, a new policy has been proposed to make everyone be genetically modified so their elbows glow in the dark and can be used as a light source. You're for, I'm against.
I mean, yeah, look, why stop at elbows? Why stop at elbows? Why do just that? I mean, you could light up a whole house if you had your toes, your fingers, any protruding body parts, you could have lit up or some sort of internal sort of mechanism.
Is it not inhumane to make everyone into a light source, though? Is it not inhumane to go against people's wishes and genetically modify them so that they can light up a room where they need to instead of turning on a light bulb?
No, it isn't. No, and I'll tell you why it isn't, right? Because I've had enough of this. I've had enough of people. You can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and start moaning about how much you have to pay out for your electricity, for your gas, for your water, and then come back and when someone says to you, okay, we'll sort it out, you can just light up. And you say, well, I ain't having that. That's against my civil liberties. You can't have it both ways. This is the sort of society we live in now. It really, really irritates me. And who wouldn't want to sit in a room and do some sort of Jean-Michel Jarre light show?
You don't know the long-term effects of this. Could be devastating. And also, have you not considered the fact that when you want to go to bed and you're trying to lay there asleep and your room's lit up?
I've got an idea for you. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. If you close your eyes, there's not a problem, is there?
Some light gets through when you close your eyes.
Okay, wear a face mask. So you're putting things against it which really don't have any sort of valid reason whatsoever. I cannot see any. Well, think about swimming. Think about the divers that go deep down diving. They wouldn't have to have torches anymore. They could just click their fingers, light up.
What, through their wetsuit?
Well, they'd have special transparent wetsuits, wouldn't they?
Well, that's got to have
You're
other
still
problems.
throwing things in my way.
Well, that's the exact point of a 2 minute debate. You done? You didn't want the full 2 minutes, no?
Oh, I thought that was. Okay, so we talked a bit about dinosaurs.
Just sat there nodding at each other for
I
a
don't
bit.
know. I find it. I've just literally told you, because I don't wear my glasses with my headphones because it's difficult to wear with my headphones. I can't always see what you're doing.
Just nod. You go.
You go.
Yeah, you just nodded back at me.
All right. Right. Look. So, when I was a kid, dinosaurs. There was certain ones that I knew of. All right, we've talked about Brontosaurus because that's one that
Did we talk about Brontosaurus?
We've talked about Brontosauruses before because there's no such thing as Brontosaurus anymore because it's now a Brachiosaurus because they decided something different about it. But when I was a kid, that was one of the main ones. Then there was Triceratops, there was a T-Rex, and a Stegosaurus, right?
That was it. That was the full collection. You collect them all like Pokemon.
Yeah, but the fact is, you didn't know about loads more. Unless you were actually a scientist or another scientist, because I can't think what else I wanted to say there.
Paleontologist.
A paleontologist, that's the one. There was not particularly a reason for you to know all of the other dinosaurs. Now, I know now kids do know a lot more dinosaurs.
Know a lot more dinosaurs. I would say it's difficult for one person, unless that's something you're really into, to know all of the dinosaurs.
Yeah, but because there are
that we know of.
But at that point, and I say it might be my ignorance, but at that point, that seemed to be all the films, like you'd see old films. There was nothing like Jurassic Park when I was a kid, obviously, and there'd all be this stop motion stuff, and they'd stick bits to lizards and stuff, and have them fighting in these black and white pics and that was supposed to be it. And whenever you saw something that was, and quite often they'd have dinosaurs and man living at the same time, or cavemen and dinosaurs living at the same time. There seemed to be this thing about the way, you know, and to be honest, there was a lot of people that thought that they were alive at the same time. And I don't know whether the films come first and then people started believing it, or people believed it, made the films, whatever. But obviously, you know, they are many, many years apart when dinosaurs were roaming the earth.
Yeah, at least 10.
Eh?
At least 10 years apart, weren't they?
Well, a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
exaggerating.
So, but, you know...
Well, it is at least 10 though, isn't it?
Well, it is at least 10, but
Yeah,
it's
there
going to
you
be
go
a lot
then.
more than that.
Thank you.
But then you get to... And it was quite significant. When the first Jurassic Park film came out, it was unbelievable, because the technology, the advancement in filmmaking and special effects that was the first of its type, and it was I was gobsmacked. We went to see the pictures. I was absolutely gobsmacked. But it was the first time I'd ever heard of a velociraptor. Now, if you ask a kid now, it used to be T-Rex. If you said, name me a dinosaur, people would say T-Rex. But if you ask people now, I would imagine Velociraptor is one of the first things people come to.
Even when you look back on the first Jurassic Park film, though, there wasn't that many introductions, apart from maybe a Velociraptor, of, I'm going to put it into quotations, new dinosaurs, in the sense that it was still your basic, there was Triceratops in there was Brachiosaurus in there was a Tyrannosaurus Rex in there. I don't know if you were much aware of a Dilophosaur at that point, but there's a Dilophosaur in there. But there wasn't that many branching off. I think since that first film, you've seen a lot more introduction of different dinosaurs.
For various reasons, they've had to reinvent it, and they've done a number
even
of...
to a certain extent as well, having the cost of having that many different dinosaurs in just one film, especially in that era, it's a lot easier nowadays. We saw at Dominion, there was a lot of dinosaurs that you'd never come across before in Dominion, wasn't there?
There was, and dinosaurs that wouldn't have been around at the same time as each other. So the whole point of these films is that they throw in animals and people that would never have been together, but also they'll throw dinosaurs in that wouldn't have been around at the same time, so wouldn't have been. But they're not real dinosaurs anyway.
But Velociraptor.
But it's weird as well. And it shows you how you can go down a route. Now, if I asked you again, what does a velociraptor look like? Now, the ones depicted, when the book was written by Michael Crichton and then went on to obviously be this hugely successful franchise with the films, the actual dinosaur that they were looking at, when you see a velociraptor in those films, it's actually a Deinonychus, which is a specific type of dinosaur. But they didn't. That's what they modelled it on. But that didn't sound right. If they were going to the merchandise and everything else, it was much better for them to have a velociraptor. So they had the name of one dinosaur and the actual look of another dinosaur. And yet now, I imagine most people think, I mean, they are distant cousins within that sort of genus, but that's what people think. You can see how... I don't think it's like misinformation, because I don't think it was deliberately done. It was done because that's what the way that the film needed to be. It was a film.
Cinema. But
loads of people will now think that's the one it is. It's also interesting as well about the colours and the sound, because obviously they don't know what colours particularly. They've got rough ideas at times because they've got more sort of incredible stuff they can do now when they find sort of not just fossilized skin.
What is it exactly they can do, Dad?
Well,
describe it to me.
Extrapolate out of the... In fact, I saw something and it's not a fossil, but it was skin, but it wasn't fossilized skin. But I mean, we talk about the fact that in those films they take the DNA because the gaps they fill in with other things, and that's part of the problem. They're not that far from being able to, we talked about mammoths in another one where they were frozen, and obviously there's DNA there. You're starting to get towards that sort of area. They can see sort of maybe pigments within in those particular ones, so they can get a better idea. They talk about feathers now in a lot of these dinosaurs that they very much look like birds as well, but they've noticed and they've found when they've looked at them where the feathers would have been. But it shows you they didn't know the colours of these particularly. They didn't know the sound of them, but they've got to make it up. They've got to fill in all these gaps.
Yeah, I think a lot of what you're saying with the Velociraptor though, and its image has been skewed by the films. I think when you look at the newer films, Jurassic World films, they are more accurate to what. Not necessarily. You are starting to get featherless, but they are more accurate. So I would actually argue that most people nowadays when they think of a Velociraptor, they probably think of the Jurassic World ones because they play a primary part in those films. Probably,
but they would have been a lot littler than the ones that are in the film. They weren't that big. Velociraptors weren't that big. Just as a slight aside. For anybody that's thinking, right, I've seen the Jurassic Park film, perhaps I will listen to the audio book or read the book. One of the things that struck me about the Jurassic Park film was there's lots of films that got kids in them, and most of the films at that time that had kids in them, the kids were the most annoying things ever. That film was one of the first ones where the kids were quite likeable and came across quite good actors and came across quite well. If you read the book, the girl in it, Lex, they've mixed them up because she's now the younger one. I would have fed her to one of the dinosaurs within moments if I had. She is the most irritating character I think I've ever read in a book. There you go. Just a little insight into
thanks. It. Back onto dinosaurs.
Sorry, I just thought I'd let you know. So there is, I suppose we are moving towards a time where we can, we clone things now. We can start doing things, whether you should do it or shouldn't do it. There's a lot. I
think the reality of Jurassic Park and the whole franchise does edge towards it being a possibility. And maybe this was the whole point of them saying in the first place, the film's coming out saying, playing God in a sense, is it that great of an idea? If you can do something, does it mean you should do something?
Yeah.
Like, for example, cloning. You can clone something, but should you clone something?
And that's where science is quite an aggressive thing at times, because pushing forward sometimes, like you say, you can do it. You suddenly discover a way of doing something, but should you stop there? Ethically, is it the right thing to do? So, it's... And we've talked about the fact of... And I think even in those films, I talk about bringing back sort of animals that were become extinct. Not dinosaurs, but ones that are coming extinct, perhaps because we've played a big part in them becoming extinct. And
a lot of the Tasmanian animals have gone extinct. I mean, we go into this, we spoke about the extinction episode as well, and I think we'll probably go into that quite a lot in that episode of bringing back things.
Do you want a few facts?
No.
Okay.
No, actually, go ahead.
The fastest dinosaur... Did you know the fastest dinosaur could be the Struthiomimus?
Struthiomimus.
Yeah, running up to 60 miles per hour. The dinosaur Compsognathus ran about 40 miles per hour. Yeah, a compy. And the Megalosaurus run about 30 miles per hour. Right? Oh, 60 miles an hour. Wow. The smallest dinosaur ever found was a bird-like creature weighing less than 1/10 of an ounce. It was discovered inside a drop of amber, so weirdly something they use within those films, but where it had been preserved for 99 million years. But it was like 1/10 of an ounce. That's just...
What's that in metric?
It's 1/10 of an ounce.
I can't do imperial. It's too stupid.
It's Oculudecus denatavis, meaning eye-tooth bird. Anyway, did you know that the largest dinosaur was the Argentinosaurus? Right?
Where was that found?
I don't know, somewhere in South America.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peru, I believe. Estimates of the dinosaur's length, based on projections of the size of the rest of the body using existing fossils, range from 37 to 40 metres long.
It'd be funny if it's actually just like a tiny little head.
Yeah, and then it completely skews everything else I've looked at. It's thought to have weighed 90 to 100 metric tonnes. So, I mean, that length of it, that would have been 23 and a half Richard Attenboroughs. If you had them head to toe, 23 and a half Richard Attenboroughs, that would have been the length of this particular animal.
So you're measuring things in Richard Attenborough because it's a dinosaur themed.
Yeah, exactly.
Episode.
Rather than
Right,
David
okay.
Attenborough. That's the way you have to do this.
When it's dinosaurs.
Biggest aquatic dinosaur? Shonisaurus sicaneanis. And I really should sort of
You
practice
seem to be really trying to do an accent with it.
Sicaneanis.
I don't think you need to do so much of an accent.
I don't know about an accent. I'm not doing an accent. I'm trying to say it slowly. Anyway, believed to be the largest sea dinosaur at 85 foot. The largest sea animal to exist during the age of the dinosaurs was an incredible 85 feet long and is believed to be the Shonisaurus sicaneensis. Right. Anyway, other ones, Velociraptor, 24.8 miles per hour. Now, I don't know where they get this information from. I presume they look at the stride. I presume they look at fossils of
They probably also look at
muscle.
as in their bone structure, because you can take
compare
a lot
it
from
to something that exists already. So say something like an ostrich or something like that.
Yeah, so things are structured a certain way to be able to do certain things.
All right. T-Rex, 30 miles per hour.
Big strides.
Big strides. Do you know it could swim really well, a T-Rex?
Yeah, but only using the kicks. It couldn't do very good front crawl.
Little doggy paddle.
Yeah.
They swim, apparently, they would swim like a crocodile. So they'd use the tail quite a lot to sort of undulate through the water.
Like a baryonyx as well.
Spinosaurus, which I thought was a made-up dinosaur because they just run out of dinosaurs, so they kept getting these bigger and bigger ones.
It's got a spine.
15 miles per hour on land.
Yeah, it's not very quick on land,
No,
though.
in water it was much faster.
It's essentially got a big old rudder.
Yeah, it has got a big old rudder. Quite an impressive one at that. So that's the end of my little dinosaur facts.
You got a favourite dinosaur?
I don't know really. Weirdly, the Velociraptors, because of the films, I guess that
He's very weird.
What?
I
Me?
don't know. You just said weirdly, and I'm
Weird.
saying
Well, no, because we just said that it might not be particularly accurate. I quite like the big sauropods, like a Brachiosaurus and things like that. They're quite cool. Always, as a kid, as I say, Stegosaurus and things like that. It's.
I find Stegosaurus it's all right, but it's pretty basic nowadays.
Pretty basic as a dinosaur.
Yeah, pretty basic. How about an Ankylosaurus? They're said to be able to defeat a T-Rex because they're essentially just a tank.
Right. Well, no, I mean...
Do you remember what the Ankylosaurus is?
I can't really think what an Ankylosaurus is.
Big kind of armoured tortoise-like thing with a tail with almost like
a boulder on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know those ones, yeah. Well, no, look, it's all very...
Pachyosaurus?
I don't
or
know.
Or Pachyosaurus? That's the one that would headbutt things.
Oh, right, yeah.
And in the Fallen Kingdom, it's the one that headbutts.
Oh, yeah, the ones that headbutt thing. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, the variety. And I think that's what fascinates kids as well and adults, is the variety of these animals. And I guess, we know that the animal kingdom, we've got all these different species. It's incredible. And we don't even scratch the surface of it when we talk about these things. But dinosaurs, having that, you think of them being at one time, you think of them, but over those periods of years, as we've ascertained, all these different types, all this. And I must admit, I am quite interested in the aquatic ones as well, because you hear all about the T-Rexes and everything else like that. But the aquatic ones I didn't know a great deal about until I watched, I think it was Walking with Dinosaurs, way back. They did, BBC done this, and it was quite clever the way they did that. But it was the aquatic one that I was quite interested in, these absolute, like, gigantic beasts. Vince, the Shiftless Velociraptor. Written by David Harding. Performed by father and son. One day in the late Cretaceous period, a mummy velociraptor sat on her freshly laid eggs and waited. Before long, 2 of her 3 eggs had hatched, but the third stayed intact. "What a lazy velociraptor you are," she said to the egg. "Your brother and sister are already exploring, but you are too lazy to even join us in the late Cretaceous period." Eventually the egg cracked and out popped Vince. He looked around the nest and sat down as his siblings rushed over to meet him.
Hello there, Vince. I'm Victor and this is Valerie. Do you want to come and play?
Vince looked at them with disdain. "No thanks," he said. "I'm quite happy sitting here." Victor and Valerie looked at each other and then headed off to continue to dismember an unspecified amphibian that they had found. Weeks passed and Vince still sat around the nest doing nothing. A couple of Iguanadons landed in a tree above where Vince sat.
Hello, Vince,
they said.
We're off to poop on the Brachiosaurus down at the lake. Do you want to come?
Vince shook his head. "No thanks, I'm good," he said with a lethargic slur, and the pterodons took flight, primed their bums and headed towards the lake. Vince was getting quite fat now and slept for long periods, only waking to eat the scraps his mother continued to bring him against her better judgment. As he was munching his way through a bucket of Gallimimus legs, 2 Triceratops wandered by.
"Hi, Vince!"
they said.
"We're off to take the mickey out of Tyrannosaurus, little arms. Do you fancy joining us?"
Vince barely looked up from the bucket, but mumbled, "No, I won't, thanks." The Triceratops looked at each other and then they trotted away. Vince's mum shook her head at him. "You really are the laziest velociraptor that's ever lived in this late Cretaceous period." Vince muttered something in reply and carried on eating. Just then, the sky started getting darker and darker, and there was a strange quiet across the valley. It was a huge asteroid, and it hit the ground with such force that all the dinosaurs were instantly wiped out, including Vince and his bucket. The moral of this story is, don't put something off today, as may not be a tomorrow due to a huge asteroid landing on you and your bucket. The end.
Game time.
Woohoo! Hello.
Hello. So, did you enjoy that story?
Loved it. Loved it very much so.
Good. It's quite interesting, some of those accents there. Quite stereotypical, but we'll let that one go. The moral of that story was, don't just sit around eating stuff and not doing anything.
And just like
get
recording
out there,
podcasts.
enjoy life, go off and poop on things and dismember things and things like that.
And make fun of the Tyrannosaurus
and make
Rex.
fun of people. Don't just sit eating stuff. We could all learn a lesson from that. So next up, we've got a little feature in Game Time where we are going to start to discuss, I think, a bit Jurassic Park-esque. What sort of dinosaurs with hybrid dinosaurs or reinventing of dinosaurs that we would do, and you know what place they would play and what part they would play in today's society. But I haven't written a sting this week, but I've asked you. I don't know if you want to warm up. I've asked you to produce some sort of appropriate music for this particular one. Oh, is that one of the sounds you're going to use?
Nope,
No?
that was me opening my little kazoo case.
The kazoo case. Oh, great! This is sounding good. So if you just
Just a
like
little
warm
bit
up
more.
for a little bit, or just so yeah, this is just a few little ideas. We thought, you know, the idea. Spoiler: at the end of Dominion, that you might have dinosaurs alongside other animals. And, you know, how do they fit in society? What could be done to make it easier? Here we go.
What are we doing? Oh, the sting.
Sting.
Oh.
What a lovely sting. Well
Live.
done.
Perform live.
Perform live. It's the first sting we've ever performed live, isn't it?
Is it?
It is. Right. So,
Left.
what would we do? What new dinosaur hybrids? What old dinosaurs would we bring in and make them more palatable to people now?
Well, I'm going to be honest. When it comes to the hybrid type things, they did it with... It never worked out in the films.
It didn't. No, it was always a
Even to the point where they hybridized...
hybridized. Is that a word?
Hybridized, yeah. They hybridized dinosaurs with frogs.
Well, they plugged up their DNA that they didn't have with frogs. Yeah.
Yeah. So they did that, and it meant
It wasn't
that they could
like
breed.
half T-Rex, half frog.
I mean, they could breed.
Oh, that's horrible. That's
Velociraptor could, in the more recent films, could, because they filled in the gaps, could asexually reproduce and lay their own eggs.
Yeah.
And I just think, as not just that, but you've got things like the. I'm drawing a blank now.
Well, sure. I mean,
What was the name of the dinosaur in Jurassic World?
what was the name of it? What the actual name of it? Blue.
No, the big old one. Indominus Rex.
Indominus Rex. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another one in Fallen Kingdom that had a bit more Velociraptor in it.
Yeah.
And that was called the Indoraptor.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So my point being is they weren't all that. So on my one leans more towards actual dinosaurs.
Right. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Yeah, they've all got swords.
Yeah. All
So
right.
would you like to start or shall I do one to start off with?
I think you might have gone down a different route to me. So you start first, and we'll go from
Yeah.
there.
Well, I'll start with one of my top dinosaurs actually, Quetzal, or a Quetzalcoatlus.
Right. Never heard of that one. What's that like?
Well, it was in Jurassic World Dominion.
Was it
First
Okay.
time it came up in the films. Essentially, a huge pterosaur type dinosaur, so like a
Oh, right,
pteranodon,
yeah.
but huge.
Yeah.
My thought being is these were massive. At the moment, we waste so much in petroleum to travel across the world via planes. So why not just have a huge bird carry us?
Mm-hmm.
I also am a little bit like you wanted us to integrate them in society, and I feel like you should just kind of let animals be animals, but at the same time there are also animals that do have their uses, such as dogs, Dalmatians and stuff like that, used in fire brigades and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
working-
So they've got
working
animals. We might be pushing it a little bit with some of these dinosaurs, but that one I'm thinking travel around the world and also just have this huge thing in the sky. Wow. Imagine that shadow going over your house.
That would be quite frightening.
Yeah, as it picks up your horse, not just your chihuahua, your horse.
That would be. I haven't even got a horse, and that frightens
Yeah.
me. I'll tell you what, though. Thinking about that, you're out in the open. You've got these huge birds going over the top of you. All right. What about when you're down in the tube? What about when you're travelling intercity in the tube? Right. How many times do people get injured trying to get on and off tube trains?
Not that often.
How many? No, there's so many. I've
is
looked
there?
into it. It's so bad. Such a big
How
problem.
many?
Oh, thousands every day. And, you
Right.
know, people just mess around in those places. And they have announcements and all the rest of it, but no one seems to take a blind bit of notice of anybody in authority anymore. What they might do, if you put a particular dinosaur down there, and this dinosaur is going to be renamed. It's going to be called Mind the Gaptor, right?
Oh, right.
It's going to be
You
half
have gone down like a different
Velociraptor.
route to me, haven't you?
it's half Velociraptor, half platform attendant, right? So basically, no one's going to start messing about. No one's going to do it wrong. They're all going to take notice because this thing's going to be stalking up and down the tube.
Looks like a velociraptor, yeah?
Looks like a Velociraptor,
But got a little hat on.
but it's got a little hat on, yeah, and a whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I feel like my ones might edge towards trying to convince people to actually let dinosaurs exist.
Well, I am. Yeah, but go on then. Go on. What's
So,
your-
I'm thinking day-to-day life, you're sitting on the sofa, you're watching TV, can't find the remote anywhere. Where's it gone? Oh, it's sitting down between the cushions.
Mhm.
Gone, well, now I can't bother to move the sofa, so I'm going to get my money out and I'm going to go buy a new TV remote. Reach in your pocket to grab your money. Oh, it's gone. Slipped between the cushions.
No way.
All this stuff is slipping between your entire life.
It's between two cushions. It's a metaphor
few years
for
ago,
life.
A few years ago, you lost a pizza, and also your actual television slipped down there at one point.
Wow, you should
as well
live
as
down there.
as well as your nan, and they're all down there still.
Yeah.
So what you got to do is you've got to get a compy or a compsognathus.
Oh, I'm glad you can't pronounce it either.
No, so it's basically a compy. We know what a compy is. Little
Yep.
tiny dinosaur.
Little tiny dinosaur.
Cute little
Little
tiny
mobs of 'em.
dinosaur. They're fine on their own, but once you get a lot of them, they start
Yeah,
becoming an issue.
A bit naughty.
I think they're first seen in Jurassic Park Lost World, by the way,
Mhm.
and they take the little girl on the beach. Trained to collect things dropped between cushions of sofas.
So kind of ferrets. Not that ferrets particularly go and
No, but-
get things back for you,
But
but
better,
better than ferrets. Wow.
Yeah.
That's asking something, really.
because
but-
it's a dinosaur. That's
Well,
the
it
only thing
is.
that makes it better.
No, I couldn't see that. That would be an advantage. Or even if the remote control's over the other side of the room and you can't be bothered to get it. If you had one like a pet, though, you're talking about almost like a pet.
Yeah, but a small group of them, but not too many, that they can overpower you.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I'll tell you what
They are
annoys
pack
me,
animals.
right, is when you go into somewhere and it's a bit higher up than you are, right? And, you know, especially as a postman as well, it's quite irritating having to walk up concrete steps to get to things, right? So I give you a Tyrannosaurus steps, right?
A Tyrannosaurus steps.
A Tyrannosaurus steps. Right, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but it's steps instead of Rex, right?
Right.
So basically,
Triceratops steps.
no, it's a completely different one, right? So you park it up wherever you want it,
Park it.
and it makes,
got
because we
wheels.
all know that a Tyrannosaur's got that zigzag sort of thing on the back of it.
They don't.
That look like steps, and you can walk up there, and it's miles more interesting than anything else. And I think it'll be great fun for postmen, kids alike. It's the way to go.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you go to the zoo,
I do.
and there you go to get your face painted. And
I
there's-
do.
And
I'd
it's just
like to, yeah.
some ugly-looking teenager that's gonna paint your
Ooh,
face.
Wow, blimey, that's a
Go
bit.
to a circus, and there's just like this old woman that's gonna paint your face.
Okay.
You go. Basically, face painting is fun getting your face painted, but you've got to stare at that person for quite some time. So they've got to be interesting, and they've got to be awesome, and they've
Yeah.
got to. So I was thinking, dinosaur with nice little cool hands, Iguanadon, being trained as a face paint artist.
What's an iguanodon's hands like then that makes them particularly?
Like hands. Ooh,
Wow.
did you
There's a
hear
lot
that
of noise there.
rumble?
Loads
Yeah.
of noise.
Put
Yeah,
my phone
they've
on
got
the table.
proper hands.
Well, kind of, yeah.
And can they do the range though? Because
They're quite tall, so they can do very tall people as well.
What irritates me if you go and see them, when they've only got two things they can actually do, like a Spider-Man or a tiger, or like you had once,
Tiger Man,
because
Half
you had
and
a bit
half.
of both. That was excellent. I think I've still got that photo somewhere.
Becky did that, didn't she?
Oh, did she? I thought
Yeah.
that was someone else who'd actually done it.
No,
Do
no,
you
we all,
always feel-
we all painted each
I'd
other's
be
faces.
much happier going to an Iguanadon to get my face painted because
Exactly.
As an adult,
they'd make more money.
Yeah, but as an adult, I always feel a bit awkward, especially as
See.
I haven't got kids now. Like you're all grown up. Whereas if it was something like that, I wouldn't be so bothered. Right, you've heard of Triceratops, right?
Yeah.
Bit big, aren't they? People like a pet, but Triceratops are massive sort of animals. So I'll give you Triceratops. Right, they're just the opposite to that. They're little pet. You get these pet dogs now.
Like
these,
baby Triceratops.
Well, they are, but they're bred to be miniature.
The selective
so like
breeding.
miniature pets. Yeah. So basically, they'll be very, very tiny, and you'll be able to fit them into your handbag or your man bag.
Like say the
depending
size
on
of a
what you-
beagle.
Yeah, something like that. But not a beagle. Far more interesting. I love beagles, don't get me wrong, but far more interesting than that. So, you could
Like a hairless cat.
hairless cat with 3 horns. I think I've sold it with just that statement.
Yep, I think you have. So, I'm looking around the room. I'm thinking, right, I need to. My bulb's gone. My light bulb's gone.
Has it?
No, it hasn't. But imagine if it had.
It is quite dark in here. It'd be
Yes, because the light's not on.
Oh, right, okay.
But actually, no, one of them is gone. Actually, Dad. So this will come perfect.
Mm.
Come in perfect.
Yep,
Yeah.
go on then.
So, but we've got quite tall ceilings, haven't we?
We have.
You can't really reach them.
No.
And there's a lot of other things that are really high up that just would be handy. You're gonna have to get a ladder to do that, bulb, unless we balance on the edge of the bed,
I wouldn't do that.
or stand in this spinning chair.
Yeah, not advisable either.
No, exactly. So you go and get your mate, the baryonyx.
Barry who?
Baryonyx.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
What's that like? What does that look like?
Do you remember Jurassic World?
Oh, wow, we keep coming back. Right, okay.
Jurassic World. Do you know Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom?
Yeah.
When it appears in that tunnel and the lava's coming through.
Oh, I know. It looks, yeah.
Bit like a mixture between like an alligator.
Yeah, they think it's a T-Rex and it's not, but it's just as bad because it's going after them. Yep.
Baryonyx is quite terrifying. They don't think it's T-Rex. Oh no, yeah, he kind of goes.
I think they think.
that's
I hope
not
it's
the
not
Rex,
T-Rex.
is
And
it?
he said, no, it's not, but it don't make any.
Yeah.
Right, so how would that help on particularly with the bulbs then?
They're quite tall,
Right, good. Yeah.
and they got longer arms than a T-Rex.
Okay, cool. No, that's good. So
And
they
you
can
wouldn't
do the
fit a T-Rex in
unscrewing,
this
yeah.
room.
No, you wouldn't, would you? Not unless it was laying down, and even then you wouldn't. No.
No, you wouldn't be able to reach, would it?
The only other one I've got is there's an actual dinosaur called an Allosaurus.
Yeah.
Right?
I know an Allosaurus. They hunt in packs.
Right. So what I'd have them is I'd have them at the front of supermarkets
Right.
to greet people.
But in a pack.
Yeah, load of them. Right. So they'd all be at the front of a supermarket or hype store or whatever, some big DIY store and that, to greet people, say hello to them, and then
It's a very American thing, that.
and then they can actually help out with other things like loading up their bags of groceries and taking them to the car, which is very American.
I think loading up the bags might be a bit difficult for them because, again, they're similar to T-Rex in the fact they've not got very big arms.
Yeah, but there's be a few of them, so between them they can help out.
Just like this.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep knocking the
Can
thing.
you not keep doing that?
But, like, just grab things and then between them they just kind of pass it to each other. They can use their mouths. I thought you had 5.
Yeah. I thought I had as well, but I haven't.
That was 4.
Was it? I can't
Yeah.
count it either, can I?
No. So I've got one more.
Go on.
The terror bird.
Right.
Actually, did you start? No, I started. The terror bird.
Yes.
Do you remember the terror bird?
Yeah. It's a big bird.
Big bird-like thing, lots of feathers, massive, massive claws. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Also known as the forest hackets.
I like terror bird, really.
Yeah, terror bird's better. Lays really good eggs.
Lays really good eggs.
Yep. Good for omelettes.
Oh, right. How big? Like ostrich eggs?
Bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You're
Okay.
very far away from your mic. Just
Oh, am I? Sorry. Oh, right. I don't know how that's happened then, because I've been pretty much in the same position all the way
But
through.
you've just been
I was just
gradually going like
gobsmacked
this.
by the omelette bit.
Hello, I'm going to record the rest
Hello,
of the episode from
I'm
over
going to
here.
play the kazoo over here. This is me over here. Yeah, no, well,
Keep the noise down.
I don't like omelettes. Can you have them as
Fried
eggs? Yeah.
Yeah, big fried egg.
Big fried egg.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's good use for them as well, isn't it?
Big eggs.
A lot of them lay big eggs, don't they, I suppose?
Yeah, but this one actually looks like a bird, and it's got terror bird.
Oh, right, so you ain't going to feel
It's not
so
going to be
awkward about
terrible
it.
eggs.
Yeah. All right, nice one.
Opposite to terrible eggs, it's great eggs.
Okay, so it's a clever twist on the name.
Yeah, but not planned.
Yeah,
that
don't
way.
throw that down on there again.
Just go slightly place.
Slowly down. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Still
I think
mocked
that's. I think in the scheme of things, it could happen. They could come back, and if they come back, I think we've got to sort of accept them, try and become part of their world, and I think equally they need to become part of ours. So there's some good suggestions there.
Yeah. Anyway, this
Yeah.
episode's been a very long one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Really?
Oh, got it.
Oh, got it.
Oh, got it.
All right.
So, there's just a couple of things I want to say. First of all is we have got a website. It's
Yeah.
available. You can send us messages on there. You can send us questions, suggestions, comments and complaints. That can all be done on there, and we will read them on the podcast, or essentially you can also just message them on there, and we don't have to read them if you just want to say something else. Great place. Also, there's a store on there you can access, and you can buy stuff and help support the podcast, keep us going. Otherwise, it's just adverts and stuff, and it's a bit harder for us to make up some of that things that we spent on it, because we do run into a loss. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like and follow us on there, share us as well. All our episodes are available on our website, or also on your chosen podcast platform, but you can also rate them on your chosen podcast
That'd be
platform
good. People could do
as
that.
well. And I think that's it.
Okay, then. I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Like that? Yeah. I thought you might have roared.
No.
All right.
Too predictable.